It's almost here.
In motion is Patton. It's going to be that trap play to Garbarino up the middle. That's a 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 45, 40, 35, 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Big Elks! Cooper Garbarino, 77 yards.
We're closing in on the start of Big Elk football, which means Big Elk TV will be on the air before you know it.
Wynn and Garza are the running backs. Jones under center. Austin, snap, turn, hand off to Wynn. Jaden piles toward. It's a touchdown for the Big Elks.
You'll be able to watch and see if Coach Maynard's brown and white-clad Elks can continue their winning ways.
Snap back, play action, lobs it toward the end zone. He's got a man. It's a touchdown for the Big Elks. Tucker Garza.
To get your business on the Big Elk TV screen, call 225-9696 or stop by our office at 220 South Pioneer.
If you build it, he will.
It's the Skinny on Sports Podcast with Aaron Cow.
I throw balls far. You want good words? Data language.
Talk real sports with a real man.
Come after me! I'm a man! I'm 40!
And now, here's the be-all, end-all, know-it-all of high school, college, and pro sports. Aaron Skinny Cow with the Skinny on Sports.
We're talking about practice, man. I'm the MVP.
And a good Paul Jones Drug Tuesday out there, Western Oklahoma. Welcome to the Skinny on Sports right here on 98.1 FM. The Sports Animal. Glad to have you along for the next hour. We got all kinds of things to discuss. I thought Jared brought up a really good topic that we need to talk about, and that is the veteran quarterbacks in the NFL that have changed teams. Who's in the best situation moving forward? Not only this season, but then maybe even as a possible long-term replacement. I picked out 4 guys that I could find that really kind of fit this bill. So we can go there. Bunch of signings yesterday. Right at the end of the day, it was like bam, bam, bam. 3 guys in particular. Zach Martin staying with the Cowboys. He got a 2-year, $36 million deal to stay there.
It's a relief, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it was one of those. I think it was one of those things that was inevitable. Just a matter of getting the numbers right, and then he gets 2 years, $36 million, all guaranteed. I bet you that guaranteed number was kind of where he was really focused. So he's there. Dalvin Cook will be a Jet, and Zeke Elliott will be a Patriot. Which one of those will have the most impact on the season? AP poll out. Unbelievably similar to the coaches poll. I mean, like crazily similar to the coaches poll. Why so cookie cutter? The one thing, AP was a little bit more unanimous on Georgia, but not all the way. And then Alabama in a spot we haven't seen it in a long, long time. Also, ESPN came out with that top 100 list like we've been discussing a little bit with the NFL. ESPN now has one. And I've got some questions about that we can discuss. Are Sean and Leanne Toohey the most awful people on earth? Or is this just maybe a little bit misunderstanding with the blindside stuff that came out yesterday? Williams Nwaneri, number 3 overall player in the consensus 247 rankings, commits to Missouri, not Oklahoma. Talk about that. Are you concerned yet? What would have to happen to get you concerned about Oklahoma's inability to close on those defensive linemen over the past couple of years? And then U.S. Amateur update with some local guys in the mix out at Denver, Colorado. 225-9698 is the phone or the text line. 225-9698. Give us a call, shoot us a text. We can talk about any of those things or whatever else you have on your mind. Feel free to chime right in at 225-9698. If you're outside the listening area, a couple ways to stay in touch with the show. Log on to kadsam.com, or you can download the app. The app's got it all. It's got the radio. It's got the Penny News. Brand new edition of that Penny News will hit the website tonight at midnight, thepennynews.com. And, of course, Big Elk and Paragon TV zeroing in on a week from Friday with the Big Elks down and out to starting the high school football season. It's almost here. It's crazy. We got some video out on our Big Elk TV Facebook page from the media days on Saturday. Get some thoughts from a couple of the guys that I was able to run across before they had to rush out to practice. So you can enjoy those from 4 or 5 of the guys and Coach Maynard as well. And then, of course, Skinny on Sports podcast. If you miss the show entirely, it's up there. You can go check it out each and every day. Hello, Jared.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How's your night?
It was pretty calm. Cooked some burgers.
Yeah, I did too.
Did you?
I had an accident.
Uh-oh.
You ever had a little bit of grease go in your eye?
Not from cooking burgers, but like maybe not my eye, but right around like when you cook bacon sometimes. Pops up and it's like, whoa.
I was smashing down a burger.
Uh-huh.
I was kind of over the top of it. I was putting some muscle into it, and it just shot right up. And I mean, I saw it, like the one little bead of grease
coming right at you.
And it went right there, corner of my right eye, the inside corner. And then I was jumping, and my daughter saw it inside. She went, "You okay?" My wife's like, "We got to go to the hospital." I was like, No. I mean, it was watering up for a long time. It's still a little itchy. I mean, I was glad I could open my eye this morning. I was afraid it would be bad. I could see a little blurry. I'm all right. But
well, darn it.
The sacrifice I make to make great burgers for my family.
I meant to. So we had burgers. Wyatt took something down to my mom that she had left at our house. Walked it down the street, ended up all the way down at the end of the street at Aunt Lana's house because Lana was about to grill burgers for her first time.
Her first time?
Yeah, to actually man the grill. I'm talking about do the deal.
Okay.
And I meant to text her to see how they turned out, and I totally forgot last night. We got kind of lost in the Castaway movie. Wyatt had never seen it.
That's a movie that it's hard to stop once you start.
We kind of did. That's exactly what what happened. And I forgot to text, so hit that text line, Gigi, 225-9698 if you're listening. How were the burgers at Aunt Lana's house last night?
And I got a new toy for my yard, and I used it. I know people were bashing me when I was talking about wanting to get this, but an edger attachment for my weed eater, I'll never go back. It is awesome.
So you're
the perfect edge.
With the weed eater, though.
Yeah.
You're not edging. You're weed eating.
I'm using the weed eater
I think that's
edger attachment.
I think you're okay there because you're physically manning the weed eater.
Yes.
That's the thing. Like having an actual edger.
That sets
the
on
actual
the ground.
That's
No.
an edger.
This is an
that's the one that
attachment.
was giving.
That's what people were giving me grief about.
Actually, buying an edger.
No.
Not
edger attachment.
Yeah. No, I know.
Yes.
No, I was talking about getting
attachment.
an edger. No edgers.
No edger.
No edger.
It's the attachment. I crank up the. Is it still a weed eater if you take the weed eater attachment off of it?
I think it is.
Anyways, I mean, I mowed Saturday and I edged with the weed eater attachment. And I found this edger attachment yesterday. I've been looking for it. Found it for a great price, by the way. And I knew I'd find one for a great price at the end of the year. And so I was like, I got an itch. So I went and did that. I'll never go back. I don't know why I didn't buy this thing sooner. So nice. Easy and convenient.
You're getting props from the lawn guys that you're okay.
Oh, cool.
With how you're doing it.
I was real worried about that.
Well, I didn't want you to be called mean names.
I mean, I mowed Saturday. Now I'm thinking I might mow again next Saturday just to use it.
Listen, I was looking at my yard today, driving off, and I thought, oh, my gosh, I just mowed Thursday.
Well, we got almost 3 inches of rain, so it shouldn't surprise you. And I was checking the drought monitor yesterday. We are not in a drought.
Well, it's good.
I know you think we are with the 100-degree heat that we've had, and that will return. But we've had enough moisture. We're not in a drought. So stuff's still growing out there.
No, there's no doubt.
Yeah.
My yard popped right out.
I like it. I had a nice compliment when I was mowing, and somebody drove by I knew, and I stopped and talked to him. I said, "Man, your yard is green." Like, well, it just rained. I mean, that helps.
Yeah, I mowed
he
mine.
said, I'm seeing other people when they mow, and then it's brown underneath because it's been so hot. I was like, well, I do throw a sprinkler on. But
I mowed it down at the perfect time.
Oh, with that rain
right
coming,
before the rain.
absolutely.
That
I bet
was
it's really popping
perfect
now.
timing. And
yeah.
so now I'm a little bit concerned. I'm not going to mow it as short next time because I'm afraid it will be.
Then it would just stop raining.
Well, yeah, and it won't be as green underneath there. Anyway, USAM yesterday, first round of stroke play today will be the final round of stroke play, and sometime tomorrow, almost inevitably, when this thing gets pared down from 312 players to 64 players, you end up with some wild playoff, like 17 guys for 3 spots, and they're not going to have time to do that tonight, more than likely. So a lot of times that's always the next, like on the Wednesday morning, and hopefully we'll be able to see. It might be happening when we're on the air, although being in Colorado, that mountain time may throw us off just a tick from me actually being able to watch that. But anyhow, with the local guys yesterday, Ryder Cowan shot a 6 over 78 at Colorado Golf Club, so he is going to have to do something Arnold Palmer-esque at Cherry Hills. And for those of you that don't remember, Arnold Palmer at the U.S. Open made that charge from like 7 back, drove the first green, and the rest was history there with Arnie. So Ryder's going to need to he's going to have to do something special to be able to get himself back in the mix. If you look at the leaderboard right now, even par is tied 44th. And then 1 over is tied 73rd. With only half the field at Cherry Hills, which is another problem, the course that Ryder's playing today, the scores were way better at Colorado Golf Club than they were at Cherry Hills. So with only half the field playing Cherry Hills and the other half playing today, there's a chance that playoff that results or the cut could be 1 over, I think. Even or 1 over. So that means at minimum he needs to shoot 5 under to be able to try to get himself positioned for a chance to play the match play. So that's going to be a tough ask, but still, awesome for a high school kid at the time to qualify, and just gives him a taste of what's to come this fall in Norman as he attends to OU and gets his collegiate golf career started. So, rough one yesterday for him, but he still, there's anything's possible when you still get around. Bobby Massa, a guy that we mentioned that has played here a bunch in the KECO, he shot 4 over. He played Cherry Hills yesterday, so he's 4 over. Doesn't need to do quite as special a thing, and also on the easier golf course. So there's a chance that he could find himself there. And then also Drew Goodman, an Oklahoma kid that plays at OU, he shot 2 over. And that was at Cherry Hills. So just, I think anything in the red there, get to that 1 over even. And, that's the goal. You do get it like a medal for medalists, right? But nobody cares about that. Just getting in the top 64, giving yourself a chance in the match play bracket is all that anybody's looking for out of these first 2 days. Anything over that is kind of gravy. So that's where that's at. Tough break, tough round for Ryder, but still, he still has a chance today, and just I'm sure an awesome experience to be a part of a USGA event as an 18-year-old kid.
Yeah, you got to love that experience. I think no matter the outcome or the result, just getting there, could this be, even compared with state tournaments, is this the biggest tournament he's ever been a part of? You got a chance to play at the Masters if you can win this thing. Clearly that's out of the question now, but there's pressure they're going into. Like, okay, if I play really well, I get a lot of exemptions. I could play the Masters.
Yeah, I don't think
he's going to play a lot of big tournaments. Don't get me wrong. Is this the biggest one now? I'm up to date.
It's the biggest amateur tournament in the world,
right?
So it almost has to be.
Yeah, and you love to get a kid out there to get that experience. That's going to help him when he gets to Norman and beyond.
Yeah, I don't think this will be the last time he plays in this event.
Not at all.
And for him individually, though, the problem with the drive, chip, and putt, it's not really a tournament when you think of a golf tournament. But he did qualify, speaking of the Masters, he did qualify when he was, 12? To be able to, those finals, I think that might have even been the first or second year that those finals were at Augusta, Sunday of the Masters. And so, when we talked about that when he was on the phone with the other day, yeah, he actually got to hit 2 putts on the 18th green at Augusta National as a 12-year-old kid. That's pretty cool.
That is.
It's not necessarily a tournament, but it's an event.
Oh yeah.
But having said that, I think that people remember who won the U.S. Amateur long after people remember who won the drive, chip, and putt 9-year-old boys division.
Sure.
So, yeah, I would say this is probably the biggest one. But we'll see what happens today. A long road to hoe if he's going to make the match play. Another OU guy, Ben Lorenzo, played great. 4 under par yesterday. So he's in really, really good shape to be in that match play bracket moving forward. I guess continue with the sad news for OU. OU golfers not the greatest, and the football team was shunned. Their recruiting effort shunned by the number 3 player in the 247 composite rankings, Williams Winery. Teammates with Caden Green, a guy that came to OU this year as an offensive lineman. His coach was Jamar Mosey, who played at OU. His son Isaiah is a junior that most people think is going to come as a wide receiver to Oklahoma. But Williams Winery stays home and commits to the University of Missouri. Jared, odds right now as we sit here on August the 15th. Give me the odds that Williams Winery, in your mind, signs. I know he committed, but signs with Missouri.
I'll lean because I think Mom had a big part of this, of why he's staying close to home. Out of everything you said, it looked like all signs were pointing to OU, and then like in 24 hours' time, it flipped. And I think Mom had a big reason for that, what I've been hearing. So with that, I'll say about 65-70% chance he stays. Hard to tell Mom no.
Yeah, I'm gonna be a lot less.
I know you are.
I'll say 25%. Multiple reasons. One, Missouri now has to win.
Yeah, I was having that discussion last night with some guys. Will they even have a coach come to signing day? I mean, what if they just go off the rails? It's not like this guy has been. I mean, some would say Missouri's kind of a trending team, but you still got to show it, especially in the SEC. Without looking at their schedule, I don't know what it looks like, but what if they start horribly and Missouri says, oh, we got this new recruit, we got to get a coach, and they fire the coach, and the guy's like, God, I don't want to sign with this team. They don't even have a coach.
When you say trending, Eli Drinkwitz, 3 seasons, 5.5, 6.7, 6.7.
Yeah.
Don't know how much that's trending.
I think people were trying to
Scott
make themselves
says OU
sound
wasn't
smart.
his second choice either. I don't believe that. I don't believe that he came down to Georgia and Missouri. He said that yesterday. I do not believe that at all. No one thinks that. No one thought that. No one thinks that. But he did say it. At the end, he said he decided between Missouri and Georgia. I don't believe him when he says that, which I'll be shocked if he signs with Mizzou. That doesn't mean that it's Oklahoma, but I don't think it's Missouri. Well, I thought something that was interesting that he actually said. You don't hear recruits say this, which is, I mean, the mom thing can be whatever you think it is, but he actually referenced NIL having a he actually said it. Yeah, oh yeah, NIL had a part in this decision. And so for me, if you're willing to say it had a part, then I'm going to go ahead and say it was the major deciding factor. If you're willing to say that, then I'm going to tell you right now that was the deciding factor. And there was a lot of talk going into this decision about the new law in Missouri that allows him, but here's the problem. He has to sign to start getting that money. He can't just commit, in theory. And I think it goes into effect like the 28th of August.
Yeah, the theory is other schools could pony up the dough.
Missouri can pony, but I think there's laws across there to where that doesn't really play as much a part as people think. I think the truth is this: when it comes to the NIL, the local people in the St. Louis, Columbia, even Kansas City, Mizzou side fans, there's 2 guys in that state that are 5 stars this year. It's him and it's Ryan Wingo. And I think they're pooling every resource they have to keep those 2 there. Whereas other NILs, there's more fish in the pond. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And I think that's where
throwing all their eggs in one basket kind of situation.
Yeah,
100%.
I think they're throwing them in 2.
Gotcha.
I think it's Wingo and I think it's him. And it worked out here. Now, let me ask you this on the OU side of things. Are you concerned about, because when you look back, since Venables has been here, now I don't put Gabe Dindy on him, even though that one seemed to be, it's funny how all these start out as OU locks seem like they're OU until the very end, and then all of a sudden something happens. And Gabe Dindy did it. David Hicks did it. Zadavian Sims from Durant just did it this year going to Oregon, and now this one. Is that concerning? How concerned are you?
I'm not letting this one overshadow the fact of, and I get you're basing it on position, right? But
yeah, with the defensive, I'm just talking about the defensive line recruiting
line,
because most people.
I won't be until what happens with Stone.
Okay, that's exactly where I'm at. If David Stone, who is an Oklahoma kid, who has been to OU countless times, if he doesn't come to Oklahoma, then there is something to be concerned about.
Yeah,
and I think we said this clear back. I know I did clear back at the December signing day or maybe February. Going into this class, that if Brent Venables cannot get David Stone to sign, then there is a huge problem.
Yeah, that's where I'd be concerned. Can't reel him in, then maybe a different approach or a different coach.
Yeah, a question on the text line is Brent Venables the main recruiter on all these defensive line guys? I think it's got to be Bates and Chavis on the D line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're the ones coaching them.
Well, I tell you what, they're certainly
those relationships.
They're the ones getting this. They're the ones getting the steam about it. I can tell you that for sure. Now, there was a time there when Bob was the coach. He sort of had regions, and a certain coach would coach a certain region or recruit a certain region, regardless of position. But eventually, that had to come back around on visits to whoever the position coach was. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, you think so?
No, it would have to eventually. But as far as like making the first contact or really being kind of the main point of contact, it wasn't necessarily position coach the way that some others are.
I mean, Gundy got a lot of credit for getting some guys on campus.
100%.
It wasn't his region like the Florida area.
That weren't his guys, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That he didn't coach.
Exactly.
And that's what I mean. I think it's kind of their job to meet them, establish the relationship with them, and then fold that relationship in with if it's either you, then you're already there. If it's a different position coach, then that's the way that would work. Mm-hmm. So I'm the same way. David Stone, and I'm not convinced Winery still isn't going to sign with Oklahoma. Mizzou drops off another 5-7, 4-8. Drinkwitz is gone, and now where do you go? Right. Is it the money or is those relationships you talk about? What was more important? So I'm not. I wouldn't throw in the towel, and I know that the Sooners aren't going to coaching wise, but it's definitely a letdown. There's no doubt about that.
I just take solace in the fact of they've had a great summer, and I'm not letting this overshadow what the summer has been, especially that July. It was awesome this past month, a month ago.
Well, and
I'm not letting it overshadow that. I mean, they're still top 20 recruiting class. 16th last I checked after this commit. And I think there's still more to get, mainly David Stone. But, yeah, this is not good, but it's not the end of the world. They had a great recruiting class in 23. They got a lot of – this is just a bump in the road, maybe a big bump, maybe a pothole that you try to avoid and you hit it anyways. But I think they're fine. And David Stone's the key, though. If they can get David Stone, that's a nice consolation prize for not getting this guy.
No doubt. In August –
I'd love to get them both, sure. But
August could still be a huge if you look back at the end of August, it could still be a huge month depending on what transpires later on.
Yeah.
Stone, McKinley, Nigel Smith. There's tons of and defensive line guys that are still out there that a lot of are favoring Oklahoma on. But it's a little troubling to see this happen the same way over and over and over. So we'll see if they can stem that tide. Also, kind of college football related, what about the blindside deal?
Without reading too much into it, I just saw the headline that he's suing what's his name? Orr is suing his adoptive parents.
Yeah, apparently not. Apparently they weren't his adoptive parents.
So yeah,
they never.
Yeah, help me out here. Bring me up to speed.
From what I could tell, he thought he was what he was signing was for them to be his adoptive parents. Instead, it was for them to have conservatorship over him. And supposedly, without seeing anything actually come out in court, what he signed allowed them to then make all the money off of the movie. And he got nothing.
Oh, my. Now, that's not good.
Not good.
That's not good at all.
We'll see
so he wants
comes of it.
what's owed to him.
Yeah, well, because he
that
thought
movie was a hit.
Well, and he thought that they were adopting him, not taking control of his financial interests. Which he was already 18 when this happened, so there may not be a ton that he can do about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because past 18, you're kind of age in most states. It's maybe one of those tough lessons for him to learn later on in life. Of even though you kind of trust him, maybe you ought to have a lawyer present when you did this type. And heck, I think wasn't he a lawyer in the movie?
Who? Tim McGraw's character?
Yeah.
No.
Was he a lawyer?
He owned a bunch of Taco Bells or something.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I can't remember.
She was like an interior decorator.
Yeah, she was
like a debutante, like a Southern belle. Who was kind of feisty.
Yeah,
Tim McGraw was whipped.
It's funny to see when you see pictures. All of a sudden, you're seeing pictures again of the real Sean and Leanne Toohey.
Yeah.
Versus Tim and Sandra.
Yeah, they didn't really look like each other. Like that doesn't look like Tim McGraw.
I was going to say it doesn't look like Sandra Bullock.
Doesn't look like Sandra Bullock.
Yeah.
Now I can't wait for the sequel. Now there needs to be a sequel.
Oh, no doubt.
Oh boy. Yeah, well, he's owed but you're right. He's over 18. He signed a document without reading it. That's lesson learned there.
Yeah, good question. Why is this coming out now?
He's retired and the money's drying up.
We'll be back on a Paul Jones Drug Tuesday.
Paul Jones Drug is Elk City's most experienced compounding pharmacy, meaning they can custom make your prescription medications to your doctor's specifications, safely and effectively providing you with exactly what you need. And for your convenience, Paul Jones Drug has a drive-through pickup window as well as curbside service for testing and vaccinations and offers free local delivery. Just a couple reasons you should choose Paul Jones Drug, 809 North Main Street in Elk City.
I'm Rodney Skinner with Paul Jones Drug, and I promise we provide care you can trust.
The Skinny on Sports.
Welcome back. Paul Jones Drug Tuesday right here on the Skinny on Sports. Thank you to Rodney and the gang at Paul Jones Drug. They provide care you can trust right here in the Elk City area. They are the oldest compounding pharmacy in town. Free local delivery, drive-through pickup, curbside testing, and vaccinations. And, of course, those long-term care unit packaging, they call them blister packs. 809 North Main, Paul Jones Drug is care you can trust. Call him, give him a call. 580-225-2121. Yeah, new book deal coming out for Michael Oher. Maybe that's why this all came to light now.
Oh, so it's going to be
He's
in
writing
the book.
He's writing a book.
I got you.
Maybe that's why all this kind
Going
of...
to get some attention to it.
And also, programming note. Today, Big Elk TV, softball, Elkettes, and Woodward. A little revenge from over the weekend.
Did they split? How'd they
Woodward
do?
beat the Elkettes in the finals of the tournament up there.
Oh, wow.
3-2.
Oh, fun.
So a little revenge for the Elkettes. 5 o'clock, Big Elk TV tonight. Elkettes and Woodward. It's a district game also, I believe.
Is that here on the road?
It's at Woodward.
Oh, even tougher challenge here.
Live from Woodward. Right back to the scene of the crime on Saturday.
Let's go. Go get them.
All right, AP poll came out. And to me, Jared, I know the coaches poll a couple of days ago or whatever, but when I see the AP poll emerge, that's when I start thinking, okay, football season is here or really close to here. Amazing how similar these two polls were. And when I say amazing how similar, I mean 24 of the 25 teams were found in each poll. Only difference is AP had Iowa 25th, coaches had Texas Tech 24th. And you know what's even more shocking? When you look at so AP has Iowa, coaches have Iowa 26th, first out. Coaches have Texas Tech, AP has Texas Tech 26th, first out. So essentially the first 26, and you can make that go to 27 with South Carolina. Exact same teams. Now, they weren't in the exact same order, but doesn't that seem crazy? For the top 27 to be the same? I don't feel like that's normal.
The AP, in my opinion, should come out first and then see how much that influences the coaches. Because I wonder how much the coaches poll influenced the AP. Or if they just taken an approach like I am, this doesn't matter. In 3 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks, we'll have a good feeling for it. But this, I don't know. I figured the AP would be more concentrated in on who they think's number one and everything, because that's really how they make money and make themselves look smart.
Yeah,
That's why
I'm surprised from like 20 down is that cookie cutter. Because and you mentioned being smart. I think if the writer's going, oh, I know something you don't. Watch this, Kentucky, or watch this, Auburn. I think Hugh Freeze. You know what I'm saying? But for it to be that, especially at the end of it, it just surprises me. I don't feel like it's always that way. And maybe that's because there's not. I mean, everybody Tulane in the bottom of the poll, but maybe that shows a little bit of a lack of strength with the Group of Five, or maybe it also coincides with some of those teams coming to the Big 12, even though none of them are in the poll. So that doesn't really make sense either, But it just seems like there's some outlier between the two. I mean, that's when I typed what to compare them. And then I went to compare them after I'd put it on the paper. I was like, not much to compare.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
There are minor differences. One, I feel like the percentage of number one votes is a little bit, maybe it's not even, but Georgia was 60. Only 2 teams that got a AP first place vote were Michigan with 2 and Ohio State with 1. Bama and Ohio State got coaches poll first place votes. Alabama outside the top 3 for the first time in the preseason AP poll since 2009. That is startling to think.
That's a heck of a stat. Shows how good Alabama's been for so long. And they're quote-unquote down this year, and there they are at 4.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you something about that.
I'd love to be down and ranked 4th.
I'm going to tell you something about that. I wouldn't be so quick to write off Alabama.
Oh, I never am.
But you know why I'm not? You know who seems to be in an exceptionally good mood heading into this season?
Would it be one Mr. Nick Saban?
Yes. He seems to be in an exceptionally good mood. And in my mind, that's not good for the rest of college football. You're going to need him.
It's like, I know something you don't know.
Kind of,
yeah.
Because when you've seen him be kind of cantankerous and a little bit old sounding, you think about after that after the Sugar Bowl when Oklahoma, when the offenses were going so fast and he couldn't figure out, Matt at Ole Miss and Hugh Freeze for different things when he couldn't figure it out, right? Mm-hmm. Because it was, and then he said, you know what? He tried to muscle around and change things back to how he wanted them. He figured out it wasn't going to change, and so you know what he did? He adapted, started doing it. But right now, he just if you're the rest of college football, I would not like how Nick Saban seems to be pretty comfortable, pretty. Can we even say? I mean, not jovial is probably too far here, but he's sure not in a bad mood.
Well, maybe he's happy because this is his last year and he's going to retire.
Maybe so.
Like, no pressure on me.
He's going to ride out. He's going to ride off in the sunset with another title.
Yeah. My reaction kind of the same with the coaches poll. All these top teams, 3 out of 4 of them anyways, replacing quarterbacks. I can't remember a time when that was a thing where a lot of these teams are getting all the love after graduating really good quarterbacks, or not graduating, but moving on from really good quarterbacks. Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State. Michigan's the one that gets them back, and I think 2 is a good spot for them because of that reason. But I can't remember a time where there's 3 out of the top 4 are replacing quarterbacks, but yet there they are. Usually that gives people pause and like, well, they're going to be good, but I'm going to put them at 7. I got to see more from their quarterback, whoever that may be. Right?
Yeah.
Is that a testament of how well they've recruited around the quarterback position?
I think so. I definitely think so. And I think that the teams that do have I'm looking at you, USC, with Caleb Williams, there's so many question marks around the defense, not only this season but just Lincoln Riley's whole career as a head coach, that it kind of takes away from the ability to feel comfortable moving USC ahead of some of these teams, even though they do have that guy.
Mm-hmm.
J.J. McCarthy, yeah, he was good. Is he beat Georgia and Alabama in the playoff good? I don't know. But I think that's totally it. And they've just been good. I mean, Georgia, Bama, Ohio State, those teams have been really good. But to your point, even in the coaches anyway, the top 10, half of them are replacing quarterbacks. Georgia, Bama, Ohio State, Penn State, and Tennessee.
Yep.
I think that's just the nature of what's happening, though. I mean, timing and also with the portal. You may see this more often.
And yes, recruiting all the way around the position. I'm looking at Georgia, but in schedule. I mean, it's hard to look at Georgia and go, I don't know if they're the best team. I mean, then without looking at their schedule and go, well, who's going to beat them? This is an easy number 1. So there's a question on the text line. Was there an unranked team that's ever made the playoffs? I think TCU started around 20 last year, 19. Where were they? Were they unranked?
Last 2 years it's happened.
Who was
2021, it was Michigan. Last year was TCU.
TCU was unranked to start the year? I thought they were in the 20s.
In the AP.
In the AP.
Yeah, if you're using the AP poll, that's the only 2 to do it. Michigan in 21, TCU in 22.
Well, listen, this is all fun to talk about.
You got somebody in your mind?
From the text, from me, personally?
When you look through, say, the teams that are garnering votes but not in the top 25.
That could sneak their way to a playoff?
Do you see anybody that you think, they could make the playoff?
Maybe a couple. No, I can't do it. I can't say that.
Who are you going to say?
Well, because of the conference they play in, South Carolina, you talk about a returning quarterback. I mean, this is Spencer Sanders. I always do that. Spencer, what good Lord. Rattler. It's his last hurrah. Kind of came on strong at the end of the year. But then again, they still play in the SEC conference. That's a tough conference to navigate. Then there's Baylor. They're always kind of fly under the radar the last couple of years. Aranda has them they're tough as nails. They host Texas this year. Maybe those 2. Everyone else I really can't. It's kind of a stretch. I mean, those 2 are a stretch. Florida, maybe. Maybe Kentucky.
Yeah, I'm looking at Tech. But they're ranked in the AP.
But they're ranked.
Yeah, they were in the other one. They're
Yeah.
not ranked. Yeah, never mind. I had the wrong side pulled up. Yeah, they're AP. No, they're ranked in the coaches. They're not ranked in the AP. They're 26th in the AP, so they count for what I'm talking about.
My apologies. I was looking on the wrong side too.
Yeah. Okay. So
but my interest still applies.
I'll tell you for sure if that's possible when we walk in here on 9/11.
After who
they
plays?
host Oregon.
Baylor?
No, Tech.
Oh, Tech. I'm sorry. Yeah, Baylor hosts. They host somebody. Is it Utah or they go to Utah? It's one or the other.
I think they go to Utah.
Either way, that's a big game. They could take down the Pac-12 champs.
No, home Utah.
Home Utah. If they can win that one, then you got my attention, Baylor. I kind of feel like Baylor, I've always had this respect for Kansas State for good reason. Well, I don't think Kansas State's flying underneath anybody's radar right now. After winning the Big 12 last year, or they're respectfully ranked in both polls. People are going to be ready for it. I think Baylor's kind of like that sleek team. If you're going to pick one that you wouldn't, outside of OU and Texas and even Kansas State, who would you pick? Baylor might be my answer.
Yeah, I'll need to see it from Blake Shapen.
Yeah. I like Aranda, though, man. I think he's a good coach.
Yeah, he's really good defense. I just don't know if he didn't have everything just come completely perfectly together 2 years ago. It's very interesting the way that those polls, though, are so similar. No one wanted to think outside the box. Or maybe there isn't anybody that's worth thinking about outside the box for, you know?
Or maybe these just don't matter. These are all going to really shape themselves out about a month in.
Eventually, yeah. And here's the thing. If you're the AP writers and you copy essentially what the coaches did, and somebody just flames out, you can go, well, the coaches thought it too.
Right.
You know, there's no accountability. There's essentially no accountability.
Yeah,
in this
they're leaving
world
themselves
anyway.
an out.
Well, they thought it.
Yeah.
Really similar. All right, when we come back on this Paul Jones Drug Tuesday, we're going to talk about ESPN's top 100 players in college football. I'm not sure number one is right. We'll be back. Skinny on Sports right here on the Sports Animal.
Paul Jones Drug offers a free service that makes taking your daily medications safe and easy. It's called convenience packaging, meaning they can combine all of your daily medications and put them in sealed, separate daily packages. This process replaces you from having to fill your daily medication dispenser. And as always, Paul Jones Drug prepares individual blister packaging for long-term care patients. With their drive-through window, curbside service, and free local delivery, it's just more reasons you should choose Paul Jones Drug, 809 North Main Street, Milk City.
I'm Rodney Skinner with Paul Jones Drug, and I promise we provide care you can trust.
The Skinny on Sports.
No.
Welcome back. Skinny on Sports, 98.1 FM, the Sports Animal. It's a Paul Jones Drug Tuesday. Rodney and the gang down at 809 North Main. Paul Jones Drug is care you can trust. A couple of other ways they do that. Individual packaging. If you don't know what that is, convenience packaging, where they take your individual meds and they package them themselves. You don't have to have a pill caddy. You don't have to have 20 different pill bottles strewn out everywhere trying to figure out which pill to put in for which day and how many and all that. We've all done it. We've all seen it. Take that headache out of your life with individual packaging of your daily meds. Convenience packaging there at Paul Jones Drug. They've got the durable medical equipment, which is your walkers, your canes, your crutches, etc. Most insurances are accepted down there. And also, it's not just the medical stuff. Gifts and greeting cards. They got all kinds of cool knickknacks, cool gifts down there at Paul Jones Drug. Care you can trust. We appreciate them. For Paul Jones Drug Tuesday, each and every Tuesday. All right, Jared, I'm going to run an audible here. The top 100.
Omaha!
Yeah.
Omaha!
Top 100 list, too much.
Okay.
It's too much to fit into this small amount of time I've left us. So we will punt that till tomorrow because there's lots of things we can unpack with the top 100 college football player list on ESPN's website. Let's move to the NFL. Big signing yesterday. I think one of them we saw coming a mile away. It's just a matter of how much and when, and that was Zach Martin. 2-year deal with the Cowboys, kind of restructuring his deal to give him the money he thought he deserved, and quite frankly, everybody thought he deserved. You don't see these contract things like this very often where everyone talking about it is on one side. Like, what are they doing?
Yeah.
This one was one of those. Like, what are the Cowboys doing? We all know they're signing Zach Martin. We all know they're going to give him a raise. Just do it. And, in a weird way, maybe them dragging their feet a little bit was a sign of, listen, Zach, we'll give you the first couple of weeks off of training camp. You're a veteran. We don't need you out there busting your hump and all that. We'll let you kind of relax, take a few days off, get this done, and then you'll be ready to go by the first.
Man, I wish that's how I got a raise.
Yeah.
A 2-week vacation.
Yeah, why don't you not come a little bit?
Yeah, hey, just take a couple weeks off. When you come back, you got a raise. Yeah, it always looks bad on the outside looking in. Like they don't like each other. They're at a stalemate. No, they're just making it work.
Yeah, there was
making the money work.
Yeah, you'd never heard anything negative on either side.
Nah, you didn't. Really.
On this, and so it's done. Zach Martin, 2 years, $36 million, all guaranteed. But he's back. He'll be right there with the Cowboys as a guard, Hall of Fame guard. That is coming for the upcoming season. Now, a couple of guys that kind of looked around, wondered why they weren't signed. Now are. Dalvin Cook, running back, will be from Minnesota, will now be with the Jets. Very interesting maneuver here with Breece Hall showing out early in his rookie season a year ago, then tearing his ACL. Definite insurance if he doesn't come back as strong and as healthy as you hoped. But also, man, if he does, that gives them a really formidable running game to just kind of help Aaron Rodgers and those weapons that he has on the outside in the pass game.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I like that one. I like it more than the Ezekiel Elliott one.
And Zeke to the Patriots. I know.
Happy he found a home, but come on, is it really going to work? Does he have any gas left? Is this what his new career path is going to be, 1 year at a time, new team every year?
Could be.
Maybe.
It very well
sounds
could
like
be.
He's going to be the second guy. Ramondre Stevenson will be running back one, but less carries. So it kind of takes the weight off of him when you can feed Zeke in those third down situations, which he's still very valuable at. He can pound those 2-yard, 3-yard gains. I think there's still value there for him.
That audible gasp you heard at about 3:30 or 4 o'clock yesterday was fantasy football dorks that were ready to draft Ramondre Stevenson at a certain round and look real smart, and now they don't want to.
No.
Because they're afraid Zeke will take his touchdown.
Yes, you're right.
You're
right.
For as similar as they are, that's just it's a way to kind of keep the veteran happy a little bit, and we all know if especially fantasy football players, if you know anything about Belichick, it's that he's not going to play who you think he is a majority of any game at the running back spot. It's always such a crapshoot anyway, and it finally looked like he didn't have a choice but to play Ramondre Stevenson a majority of the game, and now here comes Zeke. So everybody's kind of went, oh, man. Final topic, something you brought up, and we can even really get into this tomorrow with the top 100 as well. Veteran quarterbacks in the NFL that have changed locations. I wrote down 4.
I racked my brain
that are
write
really
down,
thought mattered.
Yeah, I wrote down. I again racked my brain to write down 4 not named Aaron Rodgers.
I put Rodgers in.
You put him in there? Okay,
yeah, I did.
That's fine.
I couldn't think of 4 others.
Did you rank them or rate them? Or
I would. That's what I was going to ask. I just wrote them down as I thought about them, and so now, first off, who do you have?
Well, we alluded to it yesterday. Derek Carr. I'm excited about him in New Orleans. I think that's a good situation for him. He seems kind of like Max Scherzer last night, reinvigorated with a new jersey and a new scene.
I knew we couldn't make it through the whole hour without
11
you mentioning the name
strikeouts.
Max
Let's
Scherzer.
go. This guy is on point. Striking out Ohtani, making him swing at stuff in the dirt. Anyway, we could talk about that later too. But Derek Carr, I'm really excited about him. And I think Jimmy G as well in Las Vegas could have a fun year. How about you? Those are just a couple. I put Baker Mayfield down, obviously, and then kind of an offshoot one, but Jacoby Brissett in Washington. He's a real traveled nomad kind of guy. He's been a lot of places. But is he going to be the QB1?
I assumed it was going to be Sam Howell. That's why I didn't write him down.
Okay.
But the other 4 I have. I think Derek Carr in New Orleans is set up the best with the weapons around him. I mean, Chris Olave, I think, is going to be a star in his second year at the wide receiver spot.
Yeah.
And also in that division that we talked a week ago, the NFC South, in my mind, is the weakest division in football, and it's not really even close. And so Derek Carr has a chance to, like you said, reinvigorate his career, a la another guy that did it right there in New Orleans with Drew Brees. Now, Carr, pretty similar. Carr played a little bit longer out in Vegas than Brees did at the Chargers, but still, I think he has a chance to kind of do that same sort of thing there in New Orleans, albeit for a lot different head coach, and that would be the one concern I would have is Dennis Allen versus Sean Payton. There's really not – that's a pretty major mismatch. But I like where Carr's at. You know, Baker is Baker. Who knows? He was good the other night, but we're not even sure he's going to be the starting quarterback. I think Jimmy G has a chance in Vegas. He can kind of get back to being totally healthy. And then, I mean, Rodgers is the most fascinating thing in the entire league.
Of course.
I mean, if you want to have your glass half full, you can see where he would make that offense hum. That defense we talked yesterday just obliterated Carolina's offensive line. Now, that's nowhere near the best one in the league, but also you can see the blueprint defense. And then last year, if they just had an average quarterback, they easily make the playoffs. Instead, they had one that was throwing games away. Now you have this veteran, surefire, first-ballot Hall of Famer with now an improved running game. The one concern for the Jets and the one concern about Rodgers is that offensive line. Can they protect him? Can they open up holes to be able to make that thing hum at the very highest level that it could? And that highest level is a team that is in the playoffs with a chance to win that division, and then who knows once you get there. The low end of it is they can't protect Rodgers. They can't, and all of a sudden the defense is starting to get mad at the offense because they can't do anything. Because the offensive line isn't ready to go at the level of everything else on that team. But really and truly, I think probably outside of Baker, and maybe that's a team that can surprise. But those other three, I think they have a pretty good chance at really making a push into a wild card situation. And with Derek Carr, I mean, I'll be surprised if New Orleans doesn't win that division. If he plays like the Derek Carr, but more consistently like the good Derek Carr instead of some of the shaky moments he's had.
Yeah, he seems from camp stuff I've seen than the one preseason game. He just seems more rejuvenated.
Boy, he's jacked. Seen those pictures?
I did see that.
Good
too.
grief.
Yeah. He's not ready to call it a career. He wants to find that second home and stay there and have an impact. He seems really motivated.
Yeah, how old is he? Like 32? Yep, 32. There it is. Hey, who couldn't see that being a 5 to 8 year thing where he could be down there and making a big difference in New Orleans? I could see that easily. Mm-hmm. Him being able, not just for the upcoming year, but a few years. So.
Yeah.
There you go. All in pretty decent situations. And Baker's got tons of weapons. It's just a matter of the offensive line can gel at all, and if he can perform. So far, so good in the first preseason game against the Steelers, but we shall see. And heck, who knows? Maybe that's a way for him to be able to have a chance to get back into some sort of realm of where he should have been when he got drafted. By the way, breaking news. All you OU fans that are sad as can be about the recruiting loss of Williams-Nwaneri, well, guess what? You're probably going to be getting some good news here shortly because Nate Roberts, 25 junior tight end at Washington, Oklahoma, who has been committed to Notre Dame, he has decommitted from Notre Dame.
Oh.
And he has been seen working out with Kevin Sperry, who is the commit from Carl Albert, quarterback commit to OU, and also Elijah Thomas, who just committed the other day from Chakota, Oklahoma, to the Sooners. So
he's moving to Carl Albert, and he's going to be coming here too.
Well, I'm not reporting that just yet. Oh my gosh!
What's that? The next news. What if that news drops later today?
That those two are joining Sperry on Carl Albert. Hey, listen,
wow.
As good as that team's going to be this year, think about next year when they're seniors.
Oh, my
The whole team.
Goodness.
Anyway, so Nate Roberts decommits. I think that's a
That's a good
we've
sign.
seen there's
Yeah.
nothing that's a sure thing in recruiting
no.
year after year after year, but it's a matter of time before Nate Roberts is a Sooner. I would just almost be 100% sure about that one. Everyone have a great Paul Jones Drug Tuesday. We'll be back tomorrow. Hope you enjoyed the Skinny on Sports right here on the Sports Animal.
You've been listening to the Skinny on Sports podcast with Aaron Cow. Be sure to hit that subscribe button to get alerts of when the latest podcast is available. Thanks for listening.
That ball is blistered to right. Way back. Goodbye.
It's almost here.
In motion is Patton. It's going to be that trap play to Garbarino up the middle. That's a 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 45, 40, 35, 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Big Elks. Cooper Garbarino, 77 yards.
We're closing in on the start of Big Elk football, which means Big Elk TV will be on the air before you know it.
Wynn and Garza are the running backs. Jones under center. Austin, snap, turn, hand off to Wynn. Jaden piles toward. It's a touchdown for the Big Elks.
You'll be able to watch and see if Coach Maynard's brown and white clad Elks can continue their winning ways.
Snap back, play action, lobs it toward the end zone. He's got a man. It's a touchdown for the Big Elks. Tucker Garza.
To get your business on the Big Elk TV screen, call 225-9696 or stop by our office at 220 South Pioneer.